Hi, my name's Emily Williams. I'm a collaborative pianist out of Salt Lake City, Utah. I work primarily with singers, and I'm really passionate about vocal rep, about sight reading, and also about diction and language. So I wanted to do a set of videos just on the basics of IPA and the basic rules of, the four standard languages that singers sing in. If you're a beginning singer just starting your diction series, or if you're a pianist hoping to be working with singers in the future, this is a great start for you. So today, we're just going to look at IPA, the symbols, just the basics. Okay, so before we get started, there's a couple vocabulary words that we need to become a little familiar with. So every symbol in IPA has one sound, and that is called a phoneme, right? If you have a diphthong or a triphthong, that's going to be multiple symbols glued together. So every symbol only has one sound, and that is called a phoneme. Secondly, since we're starting with vowels, there's two classifications of vowels. You can have open vowels and closed vowels, at least two classifications that we're going to talk about. I tell my kids that really super simply defined just means the amount of space in between your tongue and the roof of your mouth, or even simpler, just the space inside your mouth. So the closed vowels, a, e, u, o, all of those, there's less space inside your mouth, versus the open vowels that are taller, e, I, o, u, those have more space in between your tongue and the roof of your mouth, right? That's all that is. So with that, let's go ahead and look at our symbols. So this is the symbol for ah. This is the most common ah in English, and we're starting with English since that's the language that we all hopefully speak. If you're watching this, you speak English. So this is the ah in father, wander, words like that. This is your choir teacher's favorite ah. To me, it feels very tall and narrow, right? It's not round, it's just tall and square and narrow. Ah. Our next one, this is the symbol for E. Now this vowel sound doesn't occur by itself very often in English. It does happen in the word chaos, but more often than not, this symbol is going to have a diphthong attached to it because we say day, way, hey, right? We close to a diphthong. But this is, just for all intents and purposes, the symbol for E, and it is closed. Its open partner is E. Fed, wed, dead, bed, all of those. E, and it's open. Next, we have E. This spells usually with double E, E-E. Fee, lee, tea, weak, all of those. This is the symbol for E, and it is closed. Its open partner is I. So honestly, if we go back to our definition of open and closed, I think this one is really helpful. So E, and then we just open our mouth a little more and lower the tongue. E, I, and that's the open partner. Fit, bit, mit, kit, all of those, that's this symbol. Next, we have O. This is closed. This is the closed version of O. Again, this sound rarely occurs without a diphthong in English. We say go, whoa, though. All of those have a diphthong attached. So we'll get to that when we talk about diphthongs. But this symbol is O. It does have an open partner, and its open partner is O. This is I think always the hardest vowel sound, at least for my students. This is the sound in words like caught, bought, if you say it very proper. I live in Utah, we say caught, bought, and it's very flat and very wide. But in standard American, bought, caught, all of those words that are often spelled A-U-G-H-T or O-U-G-H-T, That's open O. The only rule with open O is that it's not an aw. It has to have, this symbol classifies as open O. It has to have roundness to it. Remember when I said that our first ah was very narrow and square? That's just because it's not open O. Open O is the rounded version of that sound. Our next group, so this is closed and this is ooh. When you're going to woo someone, or someone hands you $1 million and you go ooh, or maybe not $1 million, maybe a nice piece of chocolate cake. This is the symbol. It spells OO more often than not in English, but ooh, and it is closed. So its open partner is My students like to call this the winged U, or the upside down horseshoe. This is the symbol for book, cook, look, would, could. That's open U. And last in our basic vowels, this is the symbol for a. Cat, fat, mat, very wide, very bright, very forward. This symbol doesn't qualify as open or closed, so you don't have to think about that. But this is the sound for a. So before we get into our next group of symbols, we need to talk a little bit about word stress. So whenever you're doing an English song with your voice teacher, or if you're a pianist, whenever you're sitting in a voice lesson and you're listening to voice teachers talk about English, we have a pattern of word stress, right? So there's a stressed part of a word and there's an unstressed part of a word. Catherine in her book on English diction, Catherine LeBoeuf, that was a hard sentence to say, talks about her favorite way to find word stress, and I really love it. She uses the Count from Sesame Street when he goes 13, ha ha ha, right? So if you pretend to be the Count, I know it's very silly, and we take a word, I'm going to take a word that's written in front of me, phoneme. I would say phoneme, ha ha ha. The stressed part of that word is on pho, right? That's the part that carries the stress. So our next round of symbols, we're going to start with a schwa. Schwas are always unstressed. Always. You cannot put a schwa in a stressed position in a word. That's just not a thing. So I like to call it just an unstressed neutral syllable. So the beginning of the word above, the first syllable, the part of that, above, around, the unstressed part of that word, that's what is going to be a schwa, right? And it has a friend that has a cute little tail on the end of it, and this is an unstressed again because it is schwa. We're going to be really obnoxious about word stress with our neutral syllables. This one carries an R color. So if I have a word like lover, if we're going to be the Count, I'm going to say lover, ha, 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 right? So the stress is on la. The unstressed part is the ver, half of that. But it has an R on the end of it. Sorry. So unstressed R-colored schwa is for your unstressed ER endings. There's not many unstressed ERs in the middle of a word, but if one did happen to occur, I always have students that call me on things if I say never. They're like, oh, you said never. So I'm not going to say that it's always endings, but if there's ever an unstressed ER in a word, that's going to be an R-colored schwa. Lover, wander, all of those are going to have that R-colored schwa at the end of them. This guy is also unstressed. So we have our 3 unstressed neutral syllables, or neutral sounds coming up here first. This is the symbol for Y endings. So this is how I would IPA the end of my name. My name is Emily. So I would put a cute little I with a slash at the end. Lovely. The end of that is going to have an unstressed I ending, right? Remember, we're just talking about symbols today. we're not getting scary. So those are all the unstressed neutrals. What about the ones that carry stress? This guy, the carrot top or the mountaintop. We always just do this whenever it comes up in class. This is the stressed neutral syllable. Fun, one, done. I used the word lover in a previous example. The stressed half of that word, love, gets this mountaintop symbol. And we also have an R-colored one here too. So this is stressed R-colored. So bird, word, because there has to be a vowel there, right? It's not just We're saying bird, word, oh goodness, curd, like cheese. I come up with very weird words when I'm trying to rhyme. So this is our stressed R color. If I back us up, remember this was our unstressed R color. This is lover, wander. I'm not thinking of any final ER words, but those are the two that you can get. Oh, I just looked at barren rider. That has an unstressed ER at the end of it. Versus, if I go back, this is the stressed. Okay, this one always carries stress, right? So those are all of our vowel sound symbols. So let's look at consonant sounds. So I'm going to double check you can see all of these. Okay, good. These are all the consonant symbols that look like they are spelled in the normal alphabet, right? So b, d, f, g, h, k, u, m, n, p, s, t, v, w, z. All of those look like they're spelled, right? You can also, we'll talk a little bit more about this later, but there are also lots of categories of consonants, but we're going to talk about voiced and unvoiced first. So consonants that carry sound are voiced. Consonants that do not have sound are unvoiced. So I always tell my kids, if you can sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star on the consonant, then it's voiced. So I can sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star on yes, we all make fools of ourselves. I could do b, b, d, sorry, b, 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 b. That has sound to it, but I cannot sing s or t, 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 t. There's no sound. There's no voice to that. So those consonants are unvoiced. Each consonant has a pair. So if you look how I've listed, not all of them, but I was helpful on 2 of them. I went in the order of the alphabet. I thought that was smart when I did this, but I disagree now. But b is voiced, but if you look further down the list, p is unvoiced, but they're made in the exact same place. So b, p are actually an unvoiced and voiced, a voiced and unvoiced pair. I'll do them in the order that I say. Or voiced and unvoiced v, f. Those are made in the exact same place in your articulators. It's the bottom of your lips, your bottom lip, and your teeth. F, v, f, v. Those are an unvoiced and voiced pair. Or s, z, right? So with consonants, we talk a lot about voiced and unvoiced in those consonant sounds. We'll get a little bit closer to that when we get in depth in categories, but today we're just doing symbols and sounds. So if I turn the page, this is the symbol for NG. If you're a singer and you've ever had your teacher do warm-ups on an NG, this is that symbol, right? The end of words like sing, wing, or singing has 2 NGs. The symbol actually kind of, to me, looks like an N and a G got smushed together. So that's how I remember that. Our next one, this symbol is unvoiced. The name of this symbol in the Greek alphabet is theta. And that actually really helps me remember. This is the symbol for unvoiced TH. With, oh, that's a bad example because that really should be voiced. But that's the only one I can think of. Oh no, theater, right? That's this symbol. Its voiced partner, this is the voiced TH. So I'm going to go back to with, which is how that word is supposed to be said, apparently. That, thou, I have a colleague who warms up his singers on the first time I included exercises. They get very good at but this is the voiced version. Our next symbol, this looks like a W, and it is very similar to a W. This is the HW symbol. So the difference between the word which is a creepy lady with a hat and a black dress, or which is WHICH, sorry. So this is an HW. Whither. We had a movie crew on our campus today making an unnamed movie. I don't actually know what the name of the movie is, but they renamed our institution Whittendale, and we've all been making jokes because it's WH. Whittendale. I wonder if I'm allowed to, I hope I'm allowed to say that. Anyway, this is the symbol for HW. Next, we have what looks like a J, but it's not. This is a J glide. This is the symbol for Y, the sound that is spelled with a Y. So you, youth, young, all of those words. This is the Y. Next, this is the symbol for sh. It's tall and skinny. It looks like an S, but notice it is tall and skinny. S's are wider. Like if I were going to draw an S next to this. Oh, I'm not even sure you can even see that. If you can see that, S's are wider while this is very tall and skinny. This is the symbol for sh, and it is unvoiced. If you put a T in front of a sh, what do you get? You get a ch, right? And it is. If you sit down and think about how you make the sound ch, your tongue goes into the exact spot for a t, and then you put a sh after it. Ch. Next, we get the symbol for zh. This is actually the voiced partner for sh. It's made in the exact same place. Sh, zh. It's just that this one carries voice. This is voiced. This happens in words like azure in English, is where we get this sound. If you put a D in front of that, just like if we put a T in front of sh and we get ch. If you put a D in front of j, you get j, Joe, Jack, jolly, right? Next, we get R, our very favorite in English. This is not the prettiest sound in English, but it has its own symbol. Notice it is upside down. When we get closer to English, when we get into Italian, and German and a little bit of French, we'll get a flipped R and a rolled R symbol. But since we're starting with English, we get red, run, running, all of that. Okay. So when we were talking about A and O, and I said those sounds don't exist in English without a diphthong attached. So now we get symbols for diphthongs. There's 5 that we're going to talk about in English. And the first one is I, hi, why, all of that. In Utah, we have a really closed E on the end of our diphthongs, and we say hi, why, yeah. But we are going to use an open second syllable. It moves a little bit cleaner. You don't have to chew as much. And it facilitates better legato. So I, hi. Also, just to be a little pedantic, but way back at the beginning, we talked about each symbol only having one sound. So notice this is a diphthong. We have 2 sounds, so we have 2 symbols that are glued together. I, right? The next one is the diphthong that attaches to E. Way, day, lay, K, all of that. Closed E, open I. Next, we get oi, joy, boy. They are both open. They are both open. Joy, really, truly, just trust me. And back to the one that we talked about earlier, how O rarely exists in English without a diphthong. O, go, whoa, though, all of those. This is the diphthong that you'll use to transcribe words. And last but not least, ow, house, wow, cow, all of those. Notice this one is taller. Ow, right? Wow. It's going to, again, it's facilitating better legato. It's going to sing better. That's really what we're going for with our movable vowels, is making sure that everything sings well. So let's look at some practice words and how we would transcribe them. So this is the transcription for tree. I've put a cute little stress mark. That little, it looks kind of like an apostrophe. That is going to say where the word stress is. Okay, so let's erase that. We'll make my thing come up. Okay, so the word stress for tree, it's only one syllable, so the word stress is on the beginning of the word. Tree. So we have t, e. Also, notice that I have brackets. Now we have double brackets because I just drew them. IPA, the difference between IPA and just normal everyday spelling in the Roman alphabet is that IPA always has to have brackets around the words. We had brackets around all of our sounds. That's why everything is bracketed. Our next word, this is how you transcribe the. So when we were talking about our neutral syllables, right, and I said the mountaintop has to carry stress, right? It must carry stress. The, one, done, fun, right? So we have voiced th followed by our stressed neutral, the. Our next word, frog. I like this word. I don't know why I like the word frog. But notice we have a f, open O, frog. We're not going to say frog. Well, in Utah, we would say frog. But in standard American, we're going to say frog. It's very round. And house, back to our diphthongs. House. Ooh, you know what? I did this wrong. I'm so sorry. And we're not going to stop the video, so we're going to fix it. H, that should be that. Sorry. Scribble that one out. I did it wrong. Okay, that's how you would transcribe house. House, because it's very tall. See, I can admit when I'm wrong. Okay, so per our unstressed schwa, now we're getting a little bit trickier. Around. So around, ha, ha, ha. If I go back to the count, my word stress is on that part of the word, right? So I put my stress mark there, but my beginning of the word is a schwa because it is unstressed. So I have unstressed schwa, ow, n, d, around. That's the transcription for that. And last but not least, thoughtful. So remember when I was talking about open O and how caught, bought, right? Except in Utah where we say caught and bought, we also say thoughtful. Thoughtful. My word stress is on that half. So there's my stress mark. If fiddle circle. There's my stress mark. And I have unvoiced th, followed by aw, tf, thoughtful, right? So really, we're just taking words that we normally say and transcribing the sounds. It is sometimes easiest to start with English. I think at other times, honestly, it's difficult to start with English. There's the most connective tissue. So I have something to talk about what words make the sounds that they make. But that being said, we all speak with a very unique dialect based on where we are in the country. And, always starting with standard, if you were a theater person, you'd call it, Gen M, standard American dialect. Sometimes it's really, really difficult to think about how a word would be said in a way that is different from your own dialect. So English can be a little tricky. But we're going to do another video. The next video will be a little bit more in depth on consonant classifications and how those consonants are made, but also going into some helpful communication tools, because it really is our goal as singers to communicate the text, right? That's what makes vocal music different than standard instrumental music, is there's an addition of text. So we really want to make that as legato and as communicable as possible. So that's going to be our next video. And in the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you if you're a pianist and you would like any sight reading videos or collaborative piano information, please feel free to check out my website, which is www.emilywilliamspianist.com. And I will see you for our next video.